ביאור משנה ח'. last משנה. ביאור משנה ח'. משנתנו באה לסיים את מסכתנו בטובה ובנחמה. So this Mishnah comes to finish the whole מסכת, and it wants to teach it in a good way.
זה תמיד הם אומרים לי, לא היו ימים טובים לישראל כזה.
אמר רבן שמעון בן גמליאל, רבן שמעון בן גמליאל said, לא היו ימים טובים לישראל. There were no better days for the Jewish people כ-15 באב וכיום הכיפורים. Like the 15th of Av and like יום כיפור. בגמרא אמרו טעמים אחדים ליום טוב של 15 באב. The Gemara brings a couple of reasons for the יום טוב of 15th of Av. Number one, שהוא יום שהותרו בו שבטים לבוא זה בזה. This is the day that the tribes were permitted to marry each other. שכן כתוב בתורה, because it's written in the Torah, וכל בת יורשת נחלה ממתות בני ישראל, that every daughter, when there's no sons to the father, and the daughter inherits that land, לאחד ממשפחת מטה אביה תהיה לאישה. She should only marry then people from her own tribe. Because if she marries people from her outside of her tribe, the land will go to a different tribe. Because the land goes to the husband.
זה כבר התיר מויש רבנו ששאלו אותו, בני צלפחד, מה איתנו, אנחנו עזים? לא נקבל? אז הוא אמר להם כן.
Yeah, first of all, it's true, but that was not לדורות, by the way. And even that's not לדורות.
It was right there.
It was right there, right for that time. Yeah, but we'll discuss also over here. למען ירשו בני ישראל איש נחלת אבותיו. And from Bamidbar it explains why. Why? So that every man is going to inherit the inheritance of the forefathers, and it's not going to go into another town. ולא תסוב נחלה ממטה למטה אחר, so that the possessions, the land will not move from one tribe to another tribe. כי איש בנחלתו ידבקו מטות בני ישראל. So it looks like the Torah itself is against, let's call it, intermarriage between the tribes. It looks like the Torah wants to keep the tribes separated from each other. ועמדו, so, and that's the way it was. It was also like this just because of practicality. People knew people in their area. People did not travel like today. So people married from their own tribe.
How you can get to Shevet Issachar? I don't know
exactly.
what it is, but it's far away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
ועמדו חכמים והתירו דבר זה ב-15 באב. And the sages said on the 15th of Av, you know what? We're going to make shidduchim between the tribes. So it's not going to be staying all the shidduchim in one tribe, but there's 2 days a year where we're going to permit intermarriage between the tribes. Where did you learn it from? שדרשו, they learned it from. זה הדבר אשר ציווה השם לבנות צלופחד. This is what God commanded to the daughters of צלופחד. דבר זה לא יהיה נהוג אלא בתור זה שהם לא צלופחד. It says, according to this, it's only for that generation, the generation of the daughters of צלופחד. The daughters of צלופחד were complaining to Moshe that they didn't have a son. They didn't have a brother, and therefore they're not going to inherit any land. So Moshe said to them, Moshe went to God, and Moshe says, yeah, you're going to inherit it. And then the people of the tribe complained, but then when they're going to get married, they might marry somebody else. So Moshe says, you have to make a promise that you're only going to marry within your tribe. Okay. So this is the first thing. So this is the 15th of Av and the 15th of Av. It's also the day, יום שהותר שבט בנימין לבוא בקהל. This is the day the tribe of Binyamin were allowed to people to get married to. Again, the tribe of Binyamin did a terrible thing. They supported a terrible act. They didn't rebuke the one who did it. Yeah, they didn't rebuke the one who did it. So therefore, the entire Jewish people put a cherem, discommunication on the tribe, which means they were not allowed to marry them until a state that it was that the tribe of Binyamin was almost extinct. To the extent, so the sage says, you know what, in order for them not to be extinct, even though we're going to leave the excommunication, but we're going to give one day a year where people can marry them so that they're not going to be extinct completely. And Gimel, it's also Yom Shekalu bo Matei Midbar. It is also the day that in the desert people stop dying. Sheken Muva beBraita. It's brought down in the Braita. Kol 40 shana shehu midbar. It says the entire 40 years that were in the desert. Bechol erev Tisha B'Av. It's on Tisha B'Av that they complained. 8th of Av, but Tisha B'Av that they complained. And because of that, God said, okay, none of you are going to go into the land. היה משה רבנו מעביר כרוז בכל המחנה, צאו לחפור. Because he didn't want the people to become impure. So it says, all the men that were there between the age of 20 or 40, go dig your graves.
60,
no? Yeah, I said 20 and 60. Yeah, between 20 and 60. So every man dug their grave and they slept in their graves. So that if they died at night, nobody will need to touch them. They could just cover them and then nobody will become impure. Yeah. So it says, צאו לחפור, go out and dig. היו יוצאים וחופרים להם קברות ולנים בהם. They would go out and they would dig graves and they would sleep in them. למחרה היה כרוז יוצא ומכריז, ייבדלו חיים מן המתים. The next day somebody will make an announcement, all those that are alive get out of the grave, and those who stayed. היו עומדים ומוצאים עצמם חסרים 15,000. So every year 15,000 would stay in the graves. ובשנת 40 האחרונה עשו כן, and in the last year they did that also. ועמדו מצאו עצמם כולם חיים. And they on Tisha B'Av they woke up the next day, 10th of Av, they're all alive. אמרו, they said, maybe it's all over yet. We don't know. שמא טעינו בחשבון החודש. Maybe tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh. I mean, maybe, not tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh. Maybe we were mistaken and Rosh Chodesh was on the next day. So it's going to be on the next day. חזרו ושכבו בקבריהם. So they went back and they slept in their graves until they were sure they didn't make a mistake. עד ליל 15 באב. Until the 15th of Av. כיוון שראו שנתמלאה לבנה. Now they see a complete full moon. They know for sure. ולא מת אחד מהם. And nobody died. ידעו שחשבון החודש מקוון וכבר בטלה הגזרה. They knew they didn't make a mistake in the calculation of the month. And the decree is over. And that's why עמדו ועשו יום טוב. That's why they made it a big celebration. It's the day we stop dying. Another thing. ד' יום שביטל הושע בן אלה פרוזדאות שומרים שהשיב ירמב"ם בן נבט על הדרכים שלא יעלו ישראל לרגל. It's a day where Yerevam ben Nevat made sure that the other nations, all the other tribes, are not going to go to Jerusalem. He separated Israel and Yehuda to such an extent that he put guards on the way not to let the Jewish people from around Israel to go up to Jerusalem. So they weren't able to go up to Naliyah. So this is also the day that those decree was taken away. Hey, יום שניתנו הרוגי ביתר לקבורה. There was a big city named Beitar, an enormous city that were killed by the Romans, and they were not allowed to bury them.
On the fence.
Yeah, they were not allowed to bury them. There was a big miracle over there that they stood for a couple of years over there, and even though none of the bodies rotted, none of the bodies this, and they were all brought to bury a couple of years later on the 15th of Av. Vav, יום שפסקו מלכרות עצים למערכה. It is also the day they stopped cutting the wood for the...
לא להביא, לכרות. אני חשבתי להביא בית המקדש. פה זה לכרות.
Okay. So it's the day they stopped chopping off wood to bring to the altar. Why? מפני שכבר תשש כוחה של חמה, because by that time it's already almost winter. ואין העצים מתייבשים יפה, and the wood are not going to become completely dry. ומתוך כך חוששים שמא יש בהם תולעים. And that's why you're worried that they might have more concentration of worms. וכל עץ שיש בו תולעת פסול למערכה. And every wood that has worms in it is not good for the altar. וכיוון שנגמרה ביום זה מלאכת השם, and since that's the day that they stopped chopping off wood for the altar, עשו יום טוב, they made it into a celebration, כדרך שעושים סעודה לסיומה של תורה. Just like they make a siyum when you finish the Torah. So you finish the wood, that's it, no more wood from that point onwards, until next summer. Again, because we are worried about the worms. So this is all the reasons for the 15th of Av. What's the reason of Yom Kippurim? Hatam shel Yom Kippurim, the reason of Yom Kippurim is obvious. Lefi sheyom slicha umechila. It's the best day for forgiveness. God forgives us. וכן מפני שהוא יום שניתנו בו לוחות האחרונות. And also, it is also like Matan Torah. It is the day that the tablets were given, the second ones. How do we know this? שכן ב-17 בתמוז שיבר את הלוחות. We know that on 17th of Tammuz, he broke the tablets. כמו שהזכרנו לעיל, like we know, Moshe came down, he saw the golden calf, he broke the tablets. וב-18 בו טחן את העגל. On the 18th, he grinded the golden calf. וחזר ועלה להר, he went up into the mountain, ונשתהה שם 80 יום. And he stayed there for 240 days, for 80 days. 40 לתפילה, 40 to daven for forgiveness, ו-40 ללוחות אחרונות, and 40 more for the second tablets. אם נחשוב, if we're going to make a calculation, איפה 12 ימים של תמוז, we are going to have the 12 days of תמוז, 30 יום של אב, the 30 days of אב, 29 יום של אלול, 29 days of אלול, ו9 ימים של תשרי. And then the 9 days of תשרי comes up to 80. הרי שאותם 80 יום כלו בסוף 9 בתשרי. So all these days ended in the end of the 9th of תשרי, ולמחרתו ירד, נתן את הלוחות. The next day he came down from the mountain, and he gave the second tablets. That's how we know that God forgave us.
Rashi says a little differently. Does that he went down and then went up 3 times. He doesn't say he went up for 40 and then he went up for 80 days. Here it says that he went directly 80 days. But it was 40 days, came down, Yud Zayin Tammuz, Yud Chet Tammuz, he went back up, and then he went down Chaftet Elul, and then Aleph Elul he went back up, and came back in Yud, that's what Rashi does.
Okay.
It's a little different.
Yeah. The only difference is that he came down and up.
The same thing, yeah.
לפיכך היו ימים טובים אלו ימים של שמחה יתרה. Therefore these days were extra happiness. And what happened in those specific 2 days, the Tu B'Av and Yom Kippur, שבהם בנות ירושלים, in those days the daughters of ירושלים, ויש גורסים בנות ישראל, and according to some Mishnayos it says the daughters of Israel, of the entire nation, יוצאות בכלי לבן שאולים. They would go out with white garments that are borrowed, not their own. אפילו אלו שהיו להם בגדי לבן משלהן, even the ones that could afford nice linen clothing was expensive, היו שואלות מחברותיהם ולובשות. Even they would borrow from the friends and they would wear them. Why? Why was the custom? שלא לבייש את מי שאין לו. Because that you don't embarrass the people who don't have. Everybody borrows on that day. So even if you're a poor person, you cannot borrow, it's okay. Everybody borrows, it's not ashamed.
By the clothes,
yeah.
By the semen.
את אלו שאין להם בגדי לבן משלהם. So those women who were poor will not be embarrassed to borrow, because even the rich people borrow. בגדי לבן משלהם. כל הכלים, הבגדים ששואלות אחת מחברתה, when you do take clothing from your friend, again you have to be careful with the laws of tahara, of purity. Today we don't have those laws, we don't have those problems at all, but in that time it's a regel, yeah, Yom Kippur is the regel, so laws of purity take place. Te'onim tvila. Therefore, those clothing go into the mikveh first after you borrow it. Because you might be pure, and then you're wearing a clothing which is impure, which will make you impure. Always. Or everything also. Yeah. Everything. Because there's no purity. You cannot take purity today. There's no purity today. Everybody's tamei. Different reason. The different reason. That's not purity. That's something else. Te'onim tvila. They will consider you have to put in the mikveh kodem lelevisha before you wear them. Shema tmeim em. Maybe they're impure. ויש מפרשים שאף כאן הטעם הוא שלא לבייש אותם שבגדיהם צריכים טבילה. And also over here, again, it's not to embarrass them that their clothing need טבילה, needs to be washed, let's call it this way. So everybody puts it in the mikveh. Whether we trust it or not, it goes, you borrow, you put it in the mikveh. Everybody, that's the custom. Because otherwise you say, you only put my things in the mikveh because you trust her, you don't trust me. You don't have the things. ובנות ירושלים יוצאות וחולות בכרמים. And the daughters of Yerushalayim would go out and dance in the vineyards. ושנו בברייתא, מי שאין לו אישה היה בא לשם. And those grooms that were looking for women, were looking to get married, would come there. ומה היו אומרות? And what they would sing while they were dancing? They would sing like this. בחור, says young man, שא נא עיניך וראה מה אתה בורר לך. It says, lift up your eyes and see which one you're choosing. You're going to choose for a woman. אל תיתן עיניך בנוי. Don't put your eyes in the beauty, in the outside beauty של אישה. תן עיניך במשפחה. Put your eyes in a good family, בייחוס שלה. In other words, she should come for good stock. כמו שכתוב, just like it is written, שקר החן, the lies of beauty, והבל היופי, and the unmeaningful beauty of a woman. What is it? What a person should look for? אישה יראת השם היא תתהלל. A woman who fears God, she's the one to be praised. ואומר, and it also says, תנו לה מפרי ידיה, give to her from the fruit of her hands. In other words, you need a woman who can do good stuff. ויהללו בשערי מעשיה. And then in the gates they will praise her deeds. בגמרא מובאת בברייתא, the Gemara explains in the Braita that there were actually a couple of songs over here, not just one songs. Yeah? So it says the song went like this. Those who were beautiful, yeah, that's what the beauty was. יפהפיות שבהם, מה היו אומרות? So the beautiful ones, what they would say, תנו עיניכם ליופי. They used to say, look at how beautiful I am. That's what they used to say. Look at my face, I'm so beautiful. שאין האישה אלא ליופי. It says, what are you getting married to? You're getting married because you want to look at something nice. You don't want to look at a monster in the morning. You want to look at something nice. That's what you're getting married to. You want to bring joy and beauty into your life. That's what you marry. So look at me and take me. So the women who were not beautiful, what would they say? So it says, מיוחסות שבהן מה היו אומרות? It says the one that came from good families, what do you say? It says, what, you're getting married to put a nice vase in your kitchen? You're getting married to have sons. And our son, we come from a good family. You're going to have good sons. It says, don't just, it's not a trophy wife. You're looking for a trophy wife, or you're looking for good sons? What are you looking for? In other words, you're getting married not for beauty. You're getting married for good sons that you're going to have. תנו עיניכם למשפחה. לפי שאין האישה אלא לבנים. It says, women are not for beauty, women are for having children. That's the purpose of women, not beauty. מכוערות שבהם, מה היו אומרות? And the one who are ugly and not from a good family, what would they say? קחו מכם לשום שמיים. It says, take it for what? Take it for the sake of heaven. Person needs to get married. Take me, I'm good. For the sake of heaven. וכן הוא אומר, התנא מסיים כאן בפסוק, הנדרש על יום הכיפורים כיום של שמחה. And this is the verse that we're going to learn it, that this verse goes on Yom Kippur as a holiday, as a day of happiness. It says, Tzena ure'ena bnot Zion b'melech Shlomo. It says, go out and look, the daughters of Zion, in King Solomon. Yeah, b'melech Shlomo. By the way, it doesn't mean King Solomon, it means the king who is complete, which is God. B'melech Shlomo, in the king that's complete. Be'atara she'itra lo imo. This is the crown that his mother gave him. Who is the mother? The mother is the Jewish nation, the Knesset Israel, the root of the Jewish nation. Beyom chutunato, this is the day that he got married. Beyom simchat libo, the day that he's happy. When did he get married? Vedarshu beyom chatunato ze matan Torah. It says the day he got married, this is the giving of the Torah. The giving of the Torah is Yom Kippur. Hainu Yom Kippurim, shebo nitnu lochot achronot. This is Yom Kippur, that the second tablets were given. V'yom chatunato shel HaKadosh b'Knesset Israel. It is the day that God became one with the Jewish people. Ubiyom simchat libo, and in the day that is have a gladdened heart. When is that? Zeu binyan Beit HaMikdash. This is the building of the temple. Shenitchanech b'yom HaKippurim b'imei Shlomo. That it was established on Yom Kippur in the days of Shlomo. וכיוון שנזכר בית המקדש, מסיימה המשנה בתפילה. And since we already mentioned the temple, the Mishnah is going to come with a good wish, with a davening. שיבנה במהרה בימינו אמן. May the temple will be built speedily in our days, amen. Salik Masechet Taanit. We finished Tractate Taanit.